Imagine building a booming startup, raising a huge overseas loan, and then discovering that the half of it has vanished into the air. That's the Byju's saga. A 40,000 crore chunk of a foreign loan allegedly diverted to the insiders. In simple terms, lenders say that Byju's founder siphoned off through offshore channels without paying anything in return. Now, this corporate thriller has put the spotlight on India's borrowing rules and the founders' responsibilities to accept them. In early 2023's, Byju's financed arm, Alpha, defaulted on a $1.2 billion loan. Creditors then uncovered a lawless scheme. Co-founder Baiju Ravindran, as Alpha's self-styled boss, passed a $540 million fund stake to an affiliate for nothing. Now they are suing him in a US court over missing $533 million. Now Byju's denies this, blaming a conspiracy. But the episode shows how offshore funding can go off the rails. Now for Indian entrepreneurs, it's a wake-up call. Foreign debt isn't a free for all. Now the scandal unfolded. Byju's isn't accused of swiping cash and buying yachts. Instead, the lenders claim that the founders engineered the paperwork to shift money out of the borrower's company. After missing of $1.2 billion loan payment, the US incorporated Byju's Alpha allegedly transferred a limited partnership interest worth $540 million to another group company for zero consideration. Now, if I have to put it in other words, they gave a valuable collateral without getting paid for it. It is like promising your bank your house and then signing it over to your cousin for free. Now, in the lender's view, this was fraud, taking loan proceeds and shuffling them into related entities where the lenders had no claim. In Byju's words, this 533 million Alpha fund was simply transferred out of the company without receiving any value in return. Byju's co-founder Ravindran counters that entire loan was spent legitimately, and this lawsuit is a ploy by disgruntled creditors. In the first segment, I would want to tell about how you have to obey the ECB and the FEMA rulebook. If an Indian company borrows from abroad, RBI's external commercial borrowing (ECB) rules kick in. The RBI FAQs make it clear that any overseas loan must comply with ECB and FEMA regulations. Now, borrowing from overseas have to be in compliance with the applicable ECB and FEMA regulations. Now, this is said by the chairman of the RBI. Crucially, the borrower is responsible for the compliance. The RBI warns that any structure which circumvent ECB guidelines would invite penal actions under the FEMA laws. What does this mean for the founders? Think of ECB rules as border control for the money. You can import capital, but only through approved routes and only for permitted uses. Violating these rules can trigger investigation, guys. In fact, India's Enforcement Directorate, the famous ED, recently opened cases against Byju's for alleged FEMA breaches that I've been speaking about. The ED claims that Byju's delayed statutory filings for roughly around 9,000 crores of foreign funding and did not allot shares on time. Now, Byju's counter that by saying that these were technical delays like late reports, etc., and expect only a nominal fine. But the probe shows that regulators take ECB and FEMA lapses pretty seriously. Now, what is the lesson for all the founders over here? Always get foreign loans through a category 1 AD bank and the RBI's automatic route. Now, document the end use and file all annual reports on time. If you raise money via offshore special purpose vehicle, ensure that it's truly a loan or a genuine foreign direct investment. Now, any strawman financing or dodgy offshore entities can look like circumvention of FEMA and attract penalties. In the next segment, I would want to speak about that founders should stick to Companies Act compliances. Now, Indian law also governs how a company manages its loans and related dealings. Under Section 186 of the Companies Act 2013, it caps how much loan or guarantee a company can give. It says no loan guarantee acquisition should exceed 60% of the paid up capital and reserves. Now, 100% if the shareholders approve can also be done. But if your startup, let's say, is worth 100 crores on paper, it can loan up to 80 crores just because you feel generous? No. Byju's overseas unit effectively gave away a huge stake in a fund like a loan collateral to a related party, something that likely exceeds these limits without proper channels and approvals. Moreover, any related party transaction, that is like loan to affiliates, guarantees for promoters, etc., must be approved by the board of the company or the shareholders under Section 188 of the Companies Act. Now, if you don't follow these steps, the contract is voidable and the directors must reimburse any such losses. Now, in plain language, if a founder secretly shift company assets to his or her side projects and the board never signed them off, those deals can be undone and the directors can be held financially responsible for these. Directors also have a statutory duties under the Companies Act. Section 166 requires them to act in good faith with due care, skill, diligence and avoid the conflict of interest. Violating these duties can lead up to fines of rupees 5 lakh per director. And remember, financial reporting, guys, you cannot forget it. Timely audited accounts and disclosures are mandatory. Byju's famously delayed the financial year 2022 audit. The chief auditor had actually quit. In any company, a chronic delay or resignation of the auditors or board member is a glaring warning sign. Now, what are the lessons that we learn here? Treat company money as sacred. Pass board resolutions for large loans, investments, disclose related party deals in board reports, and ensure that share allotments are done for any foreign equity infusion. Maintain transparent books and monthly meetings. If you flout Section 186 or 188 of the Companies Act, not only in the transaction itself will be void, but the director risk penalties and personal liabilities. In this next segment, I'll be telling you about the contractual safeguards, the covenants and the audits. From the lender's viewpoint, contracts are life preservers. When lending, creditors will insist on tight covenants, promises by the borrowers to use the fund only as agreed, maintain certain financial ratios, not create new debt above the limit, and so on. Now, they will also demand an audit right, the ability to inspect the company books, and warranties that you are compliant with the laws. Now, for the founders, honoring these provisions is crucial. Now, if you sign a loan pact agreeing to say no related party borrowing without consent, as a founder, you must abide. Think of it like a marital vow with your banker. Break them at your peril, guys. Now, also build a contractual warranties into any deal you make. For example, if you take money for investment, you might warrant that all corporate approvals are done and you are not violating any law. If that turns out to be false, the counterparty can claim breach of warranty. Now, what is the lesson that we learn here? When raising a debt, draft strong agreements. Include clear covenants. Example, no fund diversion, maintain minimum cash or equity cover. Let lenders audit your books at will and give truthful representation with real consequences if they are false. This discipline not only protects the lenders, it also forces your startup to stay on a straight, narrow and ethical line. In the next segment, I'll be talking about the red flags and real world warning, guys. What warning signs should founder heed to avoid Byju's like mess? Number one, is offshore complexity. Using foreign special purpose vehicles or affiliate is not inherently bad, but it multiplies the risks. The Byju's loan came via US entity Alpha Incorporation and Camshaft Fund, etc., and money was passed between these companies. A red flag is when money circulates offshore with no clear economic purpose. Now, always ask if there is transparency. If a foreign subsidiary is acting strangely, like transferring valuable assets to another entity for nothing, alarm bells should ring. Number two is governance vacuum. Now, guys, Byju's governance was thin. No independent director for years, the founder CEO with sole control and sudden exit of key officers. In general, the quicker your audit firm or the director jump shift over the accounting issues, the more prudent founders should pause. The next step is the regulatory scrutiny. Watch public news for things like FEMA notices, ED raids, etc. Now, Byju's got an enforcement directorate notice for 9,300 crores of alleged FEMA violation. While the firm called it technical, any such notice means that authorities suspect some non-compliance in foreign dealings. As a founder, if you have arranged FDI or ODI funds, always file your foreign liabilities and assets return. Missing these dates might sound minor, but regulator take it as evidence of some rule bending or some mishappening happening there. In the next step, I would want to say about the personal funds versus the company funds. The dispute involving payment to the cricket board illustrates this danger. US lender claims the founders siphoned off money owed to them to pay to BCCI and then tried to label it as a personal fund. Always maintain a clear line between the company treasury and personal pocket. And another tip I would want to say, too good to be true deals. Guys, I've made enough videos about too good to be true is never true. If a deal is only benefiting insider, question it. For instance, a company giving itself a loan disguised as a huge debt write-off or a lender agreeing never to audit your books are smoke and mirror moves. Remember, fraudsters often rely on trust and opacity. Founders should cultivate a culture of the openness, and that is an important tip. Now, let me just quickly talk about some real life lessons happening there. Whenever large amount change hands, think of it as money laundering. A chain of transaction where illegitimate origin is scrubbed away. Now, Indian law now exactly target these tricks. The new Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita that has replaced the old IPC consolidate cheating laws and raises penalties. For example, Section 318 of BNS now allows 3 to 5 years of imprisonment for frauds that under old law was just 1 to 3 years. Companies Act sections like 447 likewise defines fraud broadly, any omission or abuse of position to deceive, and imposes up to 10 years of jail for big frauds. In short, hiding assets of your company is now very much a crime, not just a civil gaffe. In this last segment, let me quickly tell you the actionable takeaways for all the business owners and founders out there. Follow the book. Treat RBI, ECB and FEMA rules as gospel. Before you sign any foreign loan agreement, double check allowed end users, interest, maturity limits and reporting obligations. File all APR, FLA, foreign investment returns without delays. Number 2 is board and shareholder sign off. Any loan to a related company or guarantees by your startup must be approved by your board and sometimes the shareholder under section 186 and 188 that I've spoken about. It only keeps you legal. It signals transparency to the investors and to your shareholders. Number 3 is governance and audit. Build a strong independent board early or at least a robust audit committee. Keep your financial statement prompt and clear. If your auditor or the CFOs object to financial practices, listen to them. They are your prime people to hold that role. Now, there should be crystal clear contracts. Negotiate loan terms very carefully. Include cash flow covenants, example, no asset sale without lender consent. Allow lenders to audit freely and promise you are compliant with all the laws. Never mix your personal and corporate chest. Now, funding for personal projects should never come from any of the company's borrowing. Even reimbursing later won't erase this suspicion, guide. It's there in the books forever. Use proper equity or loan agreements with relatives or affiliate, and always at an arm's length basis. Another tip is, when in doubt, disclose. Now, surprises are toxic in finance. If you're doing an unusual transaction, tell your co-founder and investors first. Silence breeds mistrust. For example, if you plan to shift cash via an overseas affiliate, document it as a loan or sale, get approval, and report it. The last tip would be that know the penalties. Fraud is not just bad PR, it's criminal. The Companies Act Section 447 and the new penal code impose hefty fines and jail for deceiving shareholders or the creditors. Sometimes founders assume that corporate malfeasance is only a civil matter. It isn't. Now, in short, think of raising a debt like strapping on a parachute. It's a powerful tool, but you better read the instructions. Baiju's stories show the worst case when the parachute unzips mid-air. For honest founders, the lesson is clear. Structure your loan with care, follow India's law book to the letter, and keep everything above board. Do that, even a 500 million loan can fuel growth instead of chaos. If you find this video little knowledgeable, do not forget to hit that subscribe button, like the video, and I will keep seeing you in my upcoming videos.